Hello, everybody. Today we're going to present our science and technology project, which is animal extinction due to human activity. We are from Preparatoria del Tecnológico de Monterrey, Campus Guadalajara, and this is from the Departamento Académico de Ciencias. My teammates are Jessica Paula Mosqueda Casillas and Frida Estefania Delgado Llamas, and me, myself, Natalia González Jiménez, and this is our project.
Well, humans forget that animals, plants, and resources won't last forever. And taking care of them and stopping or doing them less frequently, some activities that are affecting, animals and plants is really essential. Climate change is one of the biggest causes of animal extinction. But in the past 126,000 years, 96% of the mammal extinction was caused by human activity. Humans tend to care only about what, we us want or need, but we have to remember that we need those plants and animals and all that resources, and that killing them is not the way to go because we have to respect them, be amazed by them, and understand that they are as important as we as humans, and that we just have to take care of them.
Well, now we're going to talk about the problem in Mexico. Mexico is one of the most biologically rich nations in the world, but unfortunately 2,605 species are endangered or already extinct, and the Mexican government is failing to enforce the laws that are protecting this species, not to mention that the official list of protected species is out of date, and some of the most endangered iconic animals in Mexico are the vaquita porpoise, the leatherback sea turtle, Mexican gray wolf, Mexican ajolote, scarlet macaw, monarch butterfly, and others. And now we talk a little bit more regionally, we can talk about Jalisco. Jalisco is also one of those states in Mexico with the most diverse wildlife. However, approximately 9 species or more are critically endangered and at high risk of going extinct. And here we can mention the musaraña de cola larga tapatía, the ocelote, jaguarundi, zambullidor menor, and others.
Because of the problem that my classmates already talked about, we tried to implement a solution so we could help the endangered animals, principally here in Mexico and with our close community of Prepatec. Therefore, we decided to create a fact skill for Alexa because we believed this would help us raise awareness about the situation that a lot of animals are experiencing right now, and to promote little actions that the students here in high school can do day by day to create a better environment for the animals.
Well, the research questions that we developed for this project were: what is the effect of human activity on animal extinction? Which solutions will raise awareness on animal extinction globally and nationally? And how can we help reduce animal extinction? Our general objective was to identify what is animal extinction, determine how is it related to human activity, and raise awareness about the problem through an Alexa skill. And some of the specific objectives were: raise awareness of the activities that provoke or have an influence on animal extinction, evaluate the causes and consequences of human activity on animal extinction, provide an easy and simple solution to reduce animal extinction, and design an Alexa skill.
We developed a practical justification because, as my classmates already said, the impact that animal extinction has on the endangered species does not only affect them, as we inhabit an environment, and if we attack these species, like animals and plants, we will end up creating an imbalance on the whole ecosystem, and therefore it will be a danger for everyone, animals, plants, and humans. Therefore, we're trying to raise awareness of this problem, and specifically the consequences that this will have, especially on humans, because we tend to be very egocentric race. So we are trying to promote little actions through the Alexa skill so that this will create a change of habits, specifically on young adults that are basically our age. I will believe that if this is achieved, we could create better conditions for the endangered animals and therefore retrieve a natural balance and the survival of the animals. We also believe that this was a very viable project as it does not require a lot of resources. The majority of them are just human resources. And well, it requires programming skills. If you want to do this project with Python to develop the Alexa skill, but through the whole experiment and project and all the research that we did, um, we discovered that there is also an easier way to create an Alexa skill based on an Alexa blueprint. So that's how we ended up doing the Alexa skill. Uh, as well, we do not need a lot of material or infrastructure resources, only a computer and an Alexa device to be able to listen if the Alexa skill actually works. As well, the only risk that we discovered during the duration of our project was the time. So in general, it was overall viable.
Well, some of the things that we had to search or that we have to investigate were, well, the causes and consequences of human activity. Um, some of the causes are overpopulation, climate change, rapid industrialization, experimentation on animals, like when they're making, well, some of the cosmetics for women, or when they experiment on them for the new medicine and, well, all that. Habitat loss and destruction, burning of fossil fuels, trophy hunting, and excessive water and seafood consumption. And some of the consequences that, well, they lead to are the reduction of biodiversity, simplification of ecosystems, reduction of functional diversity of species, the stabilization of important ecosystem functions, higher incidence of a destructive wildfire, and decreasing pollination and nutrient recycling.
Well, now to get a little bit into the theoretical framework, we can step on some definitions. To start off, we can talk about biodiversity, which is also called biological diversity, which is the total variety of life on Earth. And this includes species richness, which is the count of species in a particular area. We also have the most common one related to this topic, which is extinction, which is a dying out or extermination of a species, and it's diminished because of natural disasters or exploitation of species for human use, genetic inbreeding, and the other things that my classmate already explained. We also have extinction rate, which is measured by the extinctions per year of a certain species. And we have a loss of diversity, which is caused by species extinction. And if not extinct, it can lose much of its genetic diversity as local genetically distinct populations, and they are lost from most of the species' original range.
On another hand, as well for the theoretical framework, we believe it's very important to understand some basic concepts of AI, or artificial intelligence, that in general is the design, implementation, and the use of programs, machines, and systems that exhibit human intelligence. So any machine that can express itself, kind of, it's in a human way, it's artificial intelligence. Inside artificial intelligence, there are a lot of variables. Some of them are natural language processing and speech recognition. Natural language processing, it's this branch of AI that it's specifically concerned with giving computers the ability to understand human speech and as well to answer with text or speech of their own. And speech recognition, it's literally like the title says, when these technologies or these machines are able to recognize and respond to human speech. As well, some basic terms that the majority might already know is that an Alexa skill are the additional tasks that you can program your Alexa to do to help you with various tasks. And an eco device is literally like the Amazon gadget, as we can see in the picture, like the white little ball. And it is, well, that's just like one of the speakers that are in the complete range of Amazon, that they can be controlled with voice commands.
Well, now to get into the methodological framework, we can start off with the hypothesis, which is one of the most important parts of this project in order to find out which were the results. The hypothesis that we decided to state was if raised awareness can be created among society through an Alexa skill about animal torture and extinction due to human activity, which that is an independent variable, then the negative consequences regarding the environment and health of both animals and humans will diminish noticeably, and this is our dependent variable. After establishing the variables and the hypothesis, we decided also to establish the engineering goal, which is to achieve the design of an Alexa skill that would allow us to raise awareness of the problem of animal extinction due to human activities. And this combination of factors will lead us to the results and the data analysis.
Well, the type of research that we use in our project is explicative because it focuses on explaining why it occurs and what condition and in what conditions, sorry. It provides a sense of understanding of the problem that is being studied, and it goes beyond just describing. It explains the effects, the causes, and the consequences. And also for our research, we had to search for the background information and the possible solutions. And it is a problematic subject that is well known around all the world. And well, our main objective is to share the information and to come up with solutions to help or to share to other people. For our research design, well, it was longitudinal because knowing the growth over time of a species is needed to understand if it is going into extinction or not. And knowing the change of a variable after an external intervention, like when humans do something to expand animal extinction, like, well, when they destruct some of their habitats, it could relate to a before and after type of research. It is also a retrospective, prospective type of research because it takes information from the past and the future, and it is not experimental because the variables aren't intentionally manipulated, and it is limited to observing and analyzing.
To know the population sample that we were going to use for our survey, we used the formula that it was given to us in class, and we decided to do it with 50% um, of success and a 50% of failure to calculate the population sample, as well with 90% of confidence that we changed with our z-score, and we'll with 2.5% for the margin of error. When we calculated it, it gave us 108.9, and it is rounded to 109 students that we were going to conduct the survey with.
The next part of our project was doing the experimental design. And for this was basically the basis for our survey, but we first needed to establish the data in a viable platform that we could use to later on transform it into Google Forms, which we will explain later. But for the experimental design, basically what I did was just put all the questions that we were going to use as well as our population sample in an Excel sheet. And this helped us, there's a screenshot of the evidence. This helped us analyze our data and gather information in order to apply it to the actual survey that we were going to do, which was the Google Forms. And for the materials and equipment list that we decided to have in our project was basically, of course, the Eco device, which is one of the bases of our projects, as well as the Alexa skill. Also a programming app on a computer, as my classmate already explained, such as Java or Python. We also have Google Forms for the poll, which were based off the Excel sheet that we already made, the Excel that was used to annotate and calculate the data and results, and of course, the internet to base and sustain our research with viable and effective websites and articles in order to answer appropriately. For the experimental procedure, we planned that the time span was going to be 1 month at a maximum, and we decided to stay on that length of time. The first step on our experimental procedure was to organize the information about animal extinction to sort out what will be of extreme use throughout the investigation and sort away the things that we wouldn't use. The second step was to organize and plan how this data will be collected and used for the results, as we did with the Excel charts and the Excel documents. And in this case, the data will be summarized according to their nature, which is primarily the data collection of explorative research, as my classmate Frida already explained, associating it with a longitudinal before and after, retrospective, prospective, and non-experimental collection of the data. And this data will finally be summarized according to their qualitative nature. Then the third step is to fill out the basic requirements for the Google Forms poll in Excel, which we already did, and that was the basis for our Google Forms. And the fourth step was to finally create the poll, select a date to publish the poll, and select the students to answer the poll. And we interviewed the students of Prepatec, and we took as a reference the population sample, which was, as already established, the 109 students having used the 50-50 proportion for the P and Q procedures, as already explained. Then the fifth step was to gather the data from the poll and aligning with the information about animal extinction that was kept. And so we aligned all of our data with the results that we got. The sixth step was to report and annotate the actual results, and we compared them to the original data that we previously already had. And the seventh step was to program the Alexa skill through Python or Java with the help of an advisor. Then the eighth step was to program the data that Alexa will say according to the results gotten through the Amazon blueprints. And for this, we use the Alexa skill blueprints informative cards. There is the link that we use to program the information. The ninth step was basically the final adjustments of the data of the project that the Alexa was going to be programmed to say, of the alignment with the Echo device, and basically reviewing all the elements to make sure that the information was right and it was coherent with the results that we had already gotten, especially with the methodological framework and all the data that was there. And finally, the 10th step that we decided to do was to actually review the finished product and make the final conclusions according to the results obtained. And this was the data analysis of the results. And we compared them with the original hypothesis, and we incorporated the methodological framework.
A very important thing to add is that we completely consider the ethical implications that our project had. Principally because we developed this survey. We stated that the principal ethical implication was the handling of privacy and the informed consent. So to achieve both of them, we decided to create a privacy policy that we would add at the beginning of our survey. And as well, we decided to make it completely anonymous. So we could handle in a better way the privacy of the students. After we conducted the survey, we had like two principal results that we believe are key for our analysis and the conclusion that we developed at the end of this project. The first one is like we imagined before starting, that the students or the people our age aren't actually quite um, aware of the current situation that animals are living. So as we can see on the graphics, more than, well, 66% of the students weren't informed of the situation. And well, basically it's more than half of the surveyed students, so it's quite alarming. And the other key point that we actually saw is that um, they are not quite in contact with the Alexa skills, specifically the fact Alexa skills, so that they can learn and in general like acquire knowledge about very specific topics by the use of an Alexa skill. So we developed all of this, and with the other questions that were answered in the survey, we got to check very specific points in this, that maybe an Alexa skill wasn't the best option to complete our hypothesis.
Well, for this project, we also made a poster to share with everyone so they could, see all the process we made and all the information we gathered. And well, this is how it ended. And as my friend Natalia said, well, here is a more visual way to show what we did. Well, our chronogram and how we divided in 4 months in February, March, April, and May. And well, this is what we did for those months.
Okay, so um, as I already said a little bit in the results and the analysis part, they were like two key um, discoveries with our survey. The fact that in general, people our age aren't quite aware of the situation of animals. And the other one is that they are not quite used to handling an Alexa or an Echo device to acquire knowledge about specific topics. Therefore, we believe that maybe even though we achieved our engineering goal, maybe it isn't quite the solution that we kind of imagined when we developed our hypothesis. Still, it's obvious that animal extinction it's very important, as it does not only affect animals, but it also indirectly affects the human society too, as this imbalance in the ecosystems leads to environmental, social, economical, and political consequences. So, well, with the passage of time, it's going to have huge consequences for all of us. So we do believe that it is key to continue with the search um, for a solution to this problem. And maybe we can just encourage students to actually use the Alexa skill, maybe through social media, that it's very popular nowadays, or maybe just look for another way of spreading the information about animal extinction and raising awareness about this problem. So I think this is all for us. So we have as well our references. Thank you very much.